This is going to be the second video linked to short run production. Remember, in the short run, at least one factor of production remains fixed. So what we built up in the last video was this diagram here, that you've got the variable factors of production and you've got the marginal product, and it had this shape here. And this showed two different things were happening. We have increasing marginal returns, and then at B you have diminishing marginal returns. You're most efficient here at that start point. Now you go beyond that point and we start to suffer from diminishing marginal returns. Right, what we're now going to be thinking about then are the different types of costs that businesses will face. Now in the short run, what we know is at least one factor of production is fixed. So we know that firms have got to pay for their inputs, the factors of production. Now these can either be, in the short run, fixed costs, or they can be variable costs. Now fixed costs are the costs that do not change with output. So if I go back to that sandwich business that I created in the last video, Dazasani's, you could argue that maybe the porter cabin is on a lease deal from a business. That would mean that that fixed porter cabin is a fixed cost. Doesn't matter how many sandwiches I sell from that porter cabin, the cost of it would stay the same. Another fixed cost could also be maybe the rent. Maybe I've got to pay the local council, the local road owner, for the right to station my porter cabin on that road in that lay-by. Again, that would be irrespective of how many sandwiches I sell. Variable costs are costs that change with output. So the idea would be as output increases, I sell more sandwiches, variable costs will increase. For my business, these could be the cost of ingredients, for example. Obviously, the more sandwiches I sell, the more loaves of bread I've got to buy, lettuces, packets of ham, cheese, for example. Okay, now if I add together the fixed and variable costs, we get the business's total costs. Okay, now other costs that we could also look at linked to this could be average total costs. And this will be the total costs divided by the output, the average cost of making each particular sandwich. It's a useful thing to know that, because what that will tell me is what the average cost of making a sandwich is. I can use that to work out the minimum price I can charge in order to make a profit. We also have marginal costs. Now this is the addition to total costs of increasing sales. Okay, so if I make one sandwich, let's imagine the total cost comes to £2. If I make additional sandwich, it increases cost to £3. Cost have increased by that £1. That would be the marginal costs. Right, what we'll do, we'll now create a fake table again. So we're going to be looking at sales levels. So 1 sandwich, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're going to be working out their fixed costs, variable costs, total costs, average fixed costs, average variable costs, average total costs, and then finally the marginal costs. And we'll put all this into a table. Right, what we can do with these numbers, once we've worked them out, we can put them into a diagram to show the cost curves that a firm will face in the short run, and we can link it to the previous diagram of increasing and diminishing marginal returns. So let's start off with that first cost, fixed costs. Now let's assume for one sandwich the fixed cost is £10. Now because these costs don't change with output, it doesn't matter how many sandwiches we sell, this cost remains fixed. Now I can use this to work out the average fixed cost. Okay, so all average fixed costs will be the fixed costs divided by the output. So here we'd have 10. Fixed costs are 10 divided by 1. 10 divided by 1 is 10. Next one, we can see average fixed cost full. 10 divided by 2 is 5. We then have £3.33. That's 10 divided by 3. This will then drop to £2.50 for 4. It's then down to £2, and then, you know, quick bit of maths, 10 divided by 6 will give me something like £1.70. Okay, so what you can see then is as output increases, average fixed costs keeps on falling from 10 all the way down to £1.70. So I'm using my fixed factors of production, the porter cabin, in effect more efficiently when I sell 6 sandwiches as opposed to selling 1. Let's now add the variable costs then. Now variable costs, let's imagine it's 10 here, and I am literally making these numbers up, but I'm doing it in a way to illustrate something to you which I'll explain in a couple of moments. Now remember, what variable costs are the costs that change with output. So when I make 6 sandwiches, the variable cost of 86 will clearly be a lot more than the cost of making 1 sandwich, where the variable costs are 10. Now again, what I can also then do, I can work out the average variable cost. So again, this one will be 10, because variable cost of 10 divided by sales of 1, 10 divided by 1 is 10. 18 divided by 2 will give me 9. 24 divided by 3 will give me 8. 36 divided by 4, a quick bit of maths, that will give me 11.2. I go to the next one, 56 divided by 5 will give me, that will be 11.2. Oh, I've got these wrong, bear with me 1 second. I'll go back to this one. I was doing that a bit too quick for my own good. So for this one, it will be 36 divided by 4, which will give me 9. 56 divided by 5 will give me 11.2. And then we've got 86 divided by 6, which will give me 14.3. Okay, now what you can hopefully see here then is that as I go from 1 sandwich all the way down to 3 sandwiches, the average variable cost actually starts to fall. Then it will start to increase again. This is for the reasons that we mentioned in the previous video about increasing and diminishing marginal returns. Right, now the next one is total cost. This is the sum of fixed and variable costs added together. So we've got 20, we've got 28, we've got 34, that's the 10 add the 24. Next one, 10 add 36, 46. 56 add 10 is 66. And then 10 add 86, 96. Now, you'd expect this to happen. Making more output will create more cost than what low output would do. Now, what we can